deep where secrets lie, the truth awaits. Though time runs by, an answer cries in the night, seeking justice, shining bright. Stories and old and whispers fade, a quest for truth that must be made through endless trails and winding roads. Justice should never go cold. Justice should never go cold. Through the years this fire we hold in every heart and every soul. Justice should never go cold. Justice should never go cold. We hold in every heart and every soul. Justice should never go cold. Oh. Love in every heart and never cold. It through the years it's found. Oh. In every heart and every soul. Just should never call off mysteries haunt the past, but truth will rise and light will last through dedication. Bold and strong, we seek the answers all along. Justice should never go cold. Through the years this fire we hold in every heart and every soul. Just should never go cold. Just should never go cold. We hold in every heart and every soul. Just should never go cold. Cold. We hold in every heart and every soul. Just should never go cold. Cold. We hold in every heart and every soul. Just should never go cold. Cold.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank Arctic for being on panel with me. Hello, Heidi Cates. She thought she was late, but she was early. And hello, Flies. Hello, Duchess. Duchess, if you want a link, honey, I'll drop one. Most of y'all know, but for those that may watch this and don't know, on September the 10th of 1987, my uncle, Otis Randall Abner, who went by the nickname Ball Abner, was murdered on Nan Riley Graveyard. Earlier in that day, his girlfriend's son and a guy named Marlowe came to his house. He fed them. The story they gave was they was going to go to Man Riley Graveyard and steal pot plants. I don't believe that for 1 minute. But Marlowe and Jeff left in front of my Uncle Ball and his girlfriend Jean. They're following behind them. When they get up on the cemetery, Marlowe and Jeff park, and then my uncle is behind them, comes up, turns around. Is there just a matter of moments when one of the three took a sawed-off 20 gauge shotgun and murdered my uncle in cold blood. Only one person was tried for that murder, and that was Marlowe. The first trial, he was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. But due to a technicality of a juror that was on that trial, he got a second trial in which he walked. The other two people on the cemetery were never charged with anything. And till this day, justice has not been served. And when I called, which is on this channel, when I called Kentucky State Police, they consider this case closed. And something about this case it's just eat at me. And so today on my way home, I decided I was going to go up there because I know I've talked extensively about this case on this channel. There's a whole playlist where we have went through transcripts, and some stuff we're going to look over again tonight. But we've showed what they call crime scene photos. We've did it all. Except for me to go up there and film and let you all see what it really looks like. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to show you all where I went up there. And I want to apologize beforehand because, y'all, I'm just going to be honest with you. It was kind of emotional being up there. And I thought a little harder. And me and Arctic have talked before this live. And there's some other things I want to bring up too, but first I want to show you all this. Arctic, do you have anything you want to say before I show this video?
I just want to remind everyone that if you're not familiar with this case, not only do they consider it closed, but the vast majority of the evidence that was collected has now been destroyed.
Absolutely. And they documented that they destroyed it. And they didn't wait years to do so. They did it right after that second trial. Okay, I'm going to show you all the video I did today, and then we're going to talk about it. Y'all let me know if I echo. Hello, everyone. My name's Crystal, and most of you know me as Cold Case Crystal. Some of you may wonder why. Okay, I just want to make sure. Can everybody hear it?
Yeah, sound is great.
Okay, so there's no echo or anything. And the reason I said that was because I had thought about just uploading this as a short video, but I can't do that. Not with my uncle's case. But let's watch it. I chose the name Cold Case Crystal. On my channel, you will find an entire playlist about my uncle. On September the 10th of 1987, yeah, this is tight squeeze, y'all. But on September the 10th of 1987, my uncle, along with a female, came to this cemetery. In a car behind them, or in front of them, was two people that he trusted. That night, he did exactly what I'm doing right now. He turned around and was headed back down this cemetery, parked right here. well, more like right here. And this is from the pictures that I have. My uncle's name was Otis Randall Abner. Again, September 10th, 1987, he made a journey somewhere between 11 and 12 o'clock up this hill, turned around, and parked where I am now. Back then, this was not here. There was a gate that started here, went all the way around to here, and where you see the end of that other driveway where the cemetery has been extended is where the gate ended. It went all the way across. Now, when he pulled up here with the intention, well, we don't know what they were doing up here. We know what people were saying they were doing up here, but what they were doing up here isn't clear. The rumor was that they were up here to steal someone's marijuana. As you can tell, this is a cemetery, y'all. It's not a small cemetery. But his journey up this hill and parking his car in this area right here would be his last. Because on September the 10th, 1987, one of those three people took it upon themselves to take a 20-gauge shotgun and end his life. The photos that I've showed on my channel shows that a shell casing was found in this area. It shows a beer can was slung on this hill. And this was flat back then because they've actually steeped it or made a slant to it to make this driveway so hearses can get up here. But right back then, this was kind of flat. And that is where the suspect was parked. Again, about 11 o'clock at night. So in order to take a gun out of the back of his vehicle, which would have been parked in this area, like I said, it was flat back then, then he's going to have to walk towards my uncle's vehicle, which is parked where I am. Do you see the problem with this? It wasn't like he was coming from the back, which I originally thought. He was coming towards him. So, we got a testimony during the trial that the other person in the vehicle comes up to my uncle, allegedly, like, say he's in the vehicle, and asks for a light for his cigarette. And for some reason, instead of standing here and waiting for that light, he turns around to go back towards the vehicle that's parked over here to get a beer. Now, I'm no detective, and I'm clearly just speculating here. But if that other person was the one that pulled the trigger, could he have possibly been walking back so my uncle don't see the gun? After that day, it caused chaos. It was something that when I was 8 years old, it completely rocked my whole world. It was the first event to where I realized what death was. Until that point, I had never lost anybody. Nobody close to me. I'd heard of other people losing people, but when it came to me, I didn't. So it left a mark in my mind of how cruel can someone be? How cruel can they be to take somebody's life? Now, even sadder in this whole situation is, as most of you know, and I'm in flip-flops, I hope I don't fall. As most of you know, the first trial, the man that was the suspect, Marlowe, was convicted. It's a big mountain, y'all. But on a technicality, he got off. They had a retrial, and he walked. At no point was anybody else ever tried for his murder. Kentucky State Police now tell me that case is closed. Days after my uncle was murdered, one thing that I know is my dad come to this grave right here. Why, you may ask? Because he was looking for the gun. I'm not going to disrespect whoever is buried here. And the reason I said that, I didn't say it in the video, is the person that is buried here is not buried like normal people, you know, underneath dirt. Their bones is actually underneath those stones. So what I meant by that was I'm not going to put my camera down there so that y'all can see how open it is, because I'm not just going to disrespect this grave. But it is a burial. I've been told all my life of like Indians and some Jewish people. But that rock is just covering. It's not buried like the rest of these. So it's open. And it used to be a lot more open than it is right now. So after my dad's brother was murdered, he had to put his hand down in here and look for a gun. Now, ultimately, that gun wasn't in there. That gun turned up in Knoxville, Tennessee. I think it was a couple weeks later. But where was the gun found? Well, the gun was found. Sorry, y'all. I can't just leave here and bear with me. I didn't mean for this to happen, but I love you, sis. This is my sister's grave. How ironic is it that it's pointed at the very spot that my uncle was murdered? But, sorry about that. But the gun that was recovered in Knoxville, Tennessee was found only yards behind Marlowe's house. It was found by a minor boy, and evidently they was taking it to Knoxville to sell it, do something with it. But the point is, That's where it was found. Take these flip flops where y'all have a video I did not plan on making. But anyways, I know I've went over the case, and something just didn't seem settled with me. Something still nagged at me, and that was because if you look, there is still no street lights up here. None. Not one street light is to be seen on this mountain. And there wasn't none back in 1987. It was dark. But I think, well, what's bothered me is how did Uncle Ball not see the man coming with the gun? And I still believe my uncle had a gun himself because he never went nowhere without his weapon. And as I was coming home today, it was nagging me. It's a question I've had all through going through the transcripts. Is how in the world did he not see him coming? And I think the one thing that I hadn't paid attention to, I think the one thing that really hadn't stuck out was Jeff asked for a lighter. Now, I'm a smoker. If I'm parked in a vehicle right here, because like I said, this was flat. If I'm parked in a vehicle right here, and I get out to go to this vehicle and ask for a light, I'm going to wait and get the light. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say, hey, you got a light? I forgot mine or I've lost mine. You do? Because my uncle always kept his stuff right in his front pocket here. He would have just had to reach that far. I wouldn't have said, wait a minute, I got to get my beer. But if I'm walking back towards this vehicle and this other person is coming this way, I am obstructing the person in this vehicle's vision. Tell me what you think. Because for some reason, I think that's what happened. Oh, and Jean, I got a question. You can't answer it naturally. Because you've passed away. But that beer can that they found right here on this mountain, was it yours? I mean, your son said he threw one. But if he did, he threw it from the other side of the vehicle. Was you outside of the door when all this went down? I don't think you were sitting there. I really don't. It gives you a different perspective when you actually see the way this is up here. It's very narrow, a little wider than it used to be over here, but that used to be flat because that wasn't there. That road wasn't there, and that road wasn't there. That was flat. If you can remember in the photos, the cop cars parked right there sideways. So the photo of the beer can is on this mountain, right over here. But yet Jeff was supposed to throw it. Let's talk about it, y'all. Because I'm looking at it completely different. I may play this.
Okay.
or I may go live. That's what I said after that. Now, something else I want to show y'all is, if you can still see this, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that cop car is parked where I told you all it was flat. That's what it looked like back then. That road didn't go up there that way. That cop car is parked where Marlowe, according to their sketch, was parked. Uncle Ball was parked over here. Okay. Now, let's look at this. Let me find it. Okay. What does he say? This is testimony of Jeff Crawford, and I'm going to struggle with this because it's chicken scratch. He starts talking about getting to the cemetery. He talks about them trying to get beer up there. Me and Marlowe got in his car, and Mommy and Ball got in Ball's car. Marlowe was in the front and got to the graveyard ahead of Ball and Mommy. Marlowe pulled up, then back to the right up to the I guess cemetery. Like right up to the cemetery, like. And Ball turned his car toward, headed back out of and parked. Sorry. On the way up there, Marlowe just talked about getting the pot and selling it. There was supposed to be about 40 plants. I started rolling me a cigarette, and when Ball got parked, Marlowe had already got out there. I got out, went over to Ball, and I went over to Ball to get a light for the cigarette I had just rolled. And while Ball was getting his lighter out, I walked back over to Marlowe's car to get my beer. That's when I heard a shot and threw my beer. Okay, he threw his beer. Do y'all remember? Do you think he threw it that far? I looked over and saw Marlowe reloading a shotgun. I said, Marlowe, let's get out of here. Then he goes to say, I got Mommy out of Ball's car. I believe he was going to shoot him again. I started to get out of, I said, let's get out of there. And we all got in Marlowe's car, and he asked where we wanted to go. I said, take us down to Roberts. And he did. On the way to Roberts' house, Marlowe just said meaning Ball, had it coming to him. I know that Marlowe had the shotgun. That's what he says. He got it when during the day, but I don't know where. I think it was a pump shotgun. He showed me a yellow shell, number 4 shot. I believe the gun was a 20 gauge. Okay, there's that one that he says. Now let's look at this. Now this was taken from the suspect Marlowe Brock. This is evidence, by the way. Exhibit 1, one rolled cigarette. Exhibit 2, suspected tobacco particles. Case history. Exhibit 1, located beside vehicle victim was murdered inside of. Exhibit 2, located right in front floorboard of suspect's vehicle. Compare Exhibit 1 and 2, attempting to determine some substance. Appear. A pair of men's trousers. That's where they say they got that at. I'm looking for. That's Marlowe's pants. Let me find it. Okay, here. And number 1 empty 12-ounce beer half case containing yellow cigarette lighter. And it says Exhibit 1, located in accused vehicle with substance appearing to be blood on the inside of the box. So the lighter ends up in Marlowe's vehicle, but yet Jeff didn't get a light, y'all. He didn't take time to get that light for that cigarette. Give me just a second. I'm going to pull this up. Because another thing, and I noticed this, and how did I miss this? I have no clue. But this is a biggie of what I missed. Give me just a second. Okay. Let's go back over here. Nope. Okay. Okay, that works. Add back to stage. Okay. So I'll get to looking through this. And Arctic is right. For this to be crime scene photos, a lot of them is at my uncle's house, which we all find that strange. But while looking through these pictures, there was something that was said in Jean's testimony. What did she say, Arctic, about the front door?
That it wouldn't open.
Yep. She said it wouldn't open, y'all. She had to climb to the back. And in one of these photos, I found a picture of the front door. Let me see here. Is it this one? Yep. I think it might be. This is at the crime scene. And what is that?
The front door open.
And that's yep. The door that wasn't open, they've got a picture of it open. She was not in that vehicle. And yes, that is the front door, because look how the little handle is and stuff. The back doors ain't made like that in these vehicles. With like that armrest, I wish I could get closer to it. Well, maybe I can. Like with this armrest here. Where are we going? Go back. That front door is open, you all. I keep going the wrong direction. Just trying to drag here. Because if you all are familiar with these vehicles, the back door is just a straight handle. I might be able to find a picture of the back door. Because, you know, we do have these pictures of all that blood that was, no, the door's open in that one. Does this look like a vehicle where somebody was murdered in? I've said this 100 times. But as you can see right there, It's this door. The door is open. And it's at the crime scene, opened. But yet she stated that she crawled over the back of the seat, well, and went out the window in one statement. And then in Jeff's statement, he said he opened the back door and that she went out that door. Right, Order?
Yeah, if I remember right, that's exactly how it went.
Hello, Timothy's Legacy. Another thing, and I've said this before, my uncle wasn't extremely short, y'all. But this right here, look how close it is to the pedals. I am more convinced now than ever that she drove that car up there. I think the reason that we've got all these pictures of the inside of the house like this, I think that is the crime scene. I mean, and what's the point of taking a picture of a beer can? And yeah, I don't care to show you face, Jeff Crawford. Not one bit. And for the record, nobody can, and I read it to Arctic. I don't have to make it public to everybody, but I showed him it. It's like it come from a sheriff's office, was it not?
Yeah.
Arctic.
Yeah.
And told me to be real careful, you all. Wanted me to be real careful, worried about my safety. Might not need to be telling cops that I'm covering this case.
It pretty much came across as a veiled threat that she shouldn't be getting involved in something that law enforcement's involved in. Now, my thought on that is law enforcement hasn't been involved in this case since the 80s.
No. So what were they worried about? What are they worried about? That door's open. And that is that front door.
And it's like I told Crystal when we started going over everything from day one on this. I told her they convicted the wrong man at that trial the first time. Because it wasn't a man that killed her uncle. It was
No.
Jean.
I think it was Jean. I think she was out of that vehicle. And yeah, I do think that Jeff asked for that light, but I think he asked for that light to hide whoever pulled that trigger. And I think that trigger was pulled by his mom. I think that's the reason we've got too many dogs. And this is my opinion, allegedly. I think we've got too many different stories of how she gets out of that vehicle. And to say that here, let me just find it. I don't ask nobody to take my word on anything. Let me find it right quick. It won't take me too long. But she gave a sworn statement. Let's see what she said she did and why she said she done it. If I can find her chicken scratch. Oh.
Because if you'll remember, when we started going over this case originally, Jean was real quick to go home, change clothes, and take a shower.
Oh, yeah. Clothes that they never got. And Jean and her son was never investigated. The case went completely on hearsay of what they said, which is hogwash. I'll find her little chicken scratch. I swear I will. Oh, I've got an easier way of doing this. Huh. Let me find files in order. There we go. Let's see what she says. Might as well just read it from the transcripts. What do you think, Artie?
That works.
Okay. Let me put it back on the screen. Okay. Would you state your name for the record, please? Jean Crawford. Miss Crawford, where do you live? This is where she tells where she lives. We went through this. I'm going to get it up to the cemetery, if that's okay with everybody.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, she says, yeah, Ball came through and he said, get up, we're going after Pot. I don't believe in that. Was my uncle perfect? No, he wasn't. But if he was on that cemetery, it wasn't to steal Pot, it was probably to sell Pot. If he was up there. Okay.
I'm not even buying the fact that they would go to the cemetery to steal pot anyway, because no one in the right mind is going to plant pot out in the open in a cemetery like that.
No, absolutely not. Okay, it says, what happened after that? Did you all go? Yeah, we went down to the graveyard. How did everybody get up there? Well, me and Ball went in the car that he had, and Jeff and Marlo went in Marlo's car. Okay, did Marlo and Jeff go in front of you all? Yeah, they was already there when we got there. So they went up there and then you all came on up there. Yeah, but we's, and I'm going to read just like they typed it. We's close together, you know. Okay, and did you park in the cemetery up there? Down at the, I guess she pauses, the cemetery's fenced off. We parked on the outside of it. Well, when you got up there and parked, you what happened? Well, we's just sitting there in the car. You know, it's dark, no lights around the place, and we just sit there a few minutes. Well, where was Marlo and Jeff at? They was in Marlo's car. Now, how close were they to where you and Ball were at? Well, they was just a little distance. Me and Ball was in the main road, turned to come back down the hill from the cemetery, and she pauses, or stutters, whatever this is. I don't know how far apart it was, but anyway, I didn't see Jeff or Marlo. Either one. You didn't see them out of their car. How long had you and Ball been sitting there? Well, we hadn't been sitting there long till that shot fired, you know. I didn't know what it was at the time. I thought it was such a noise, and I thought I was killed too. So,
So she
okay.
didn't know
So,
what it was, but she thought she was killed. That
yeah,
makes a lot of sense too.
yeah, that made a whole lot of sense, didn't it? Okay. So you were sitting there and you heard a shot fired. Yeah, right against my head. Where, where were you at? I was sitting beside a ball in the car in the front seat. Yeah. And you were on the passenger side and he was on the driver's side? Yes. Okay. After you heard the shot fired, what happened? Here's where it gets interesting, y'all. Well, I fell down in the seat. I thought I'd been hit. I felt numb all over. And then I raised. When I did raise up, Jeff jerked open the back door and he said, "Get out of here, Mommy, and let's go. Get out of here." And when I raised up off of my seat, I seen that. Balls, Balls was dead. All of his brains was on the back of the seat. Did y'all see that? What wasn't in my hair and my head. I seen they wasn't no help for him at all. So I climbed over the back of the seat and got out. And I thought whoever's pot that was going to kill the rest of us. So and remember that because I want to remind you all that she didn't just climb allegedly over that seat. She brought a case of beer with her and a purse. Anyway, so we just notice how she says that. So she pauses. She pauses. We just, in a rush to get away from there. Did you see
See,
anybody with?
in my opinion, this is where she tells on herself by saying that all of his brain matter was in her hair because that was the blowback from her firing that shot.
Yeah, I doubt it was because she was sitting right there beside of him. Did you see anybody with a gun? No, I didn't. How come you climbed over the seat and went out the back door? Very important right here, y'all. Well, the front door that I sat by wouldn't open without a screwdriver. You had to work with it with a screwdriver a little while to get the door open. So we didn't take time to do nothing like that. Thought we'd uh, thought we'd be next. With anybody trying to steal pot, they're liable to get killed. So Jeff opened the back door, yes, and reached in and pulled you out, yes, helped me over the seat. And you say there was blood and stuff all over the back of the seat, all over the back seat, yeah, and my face and my hair too. And Jeff crawled in and got you. And if I sound like I am sarcastic with this, you all, I'm not demeaning my uncle's case. I don't want you to think that. It's because I think this woman, excuse my language, is full of shit. Anyway, yeah, he helped me out over the seat. When Jeff got in there and helped you. Now, I don't know if he did. He might not have got in there. But I climbed over the back and went out the back door. But he's standing at the back door. When you got out of the car, when you crawled over the seat to get out of the car, did you leave anything in the front floorboard? Me? Uh-huh. Yes, I left my purse. She says that, but I got proof she didn't. Had all my important papers in it and some money and a box with 2 cans of beer in it. Anything else in the box? No, in the floor in the front where you were sitting. My shoes. You left your shoes in it too? Yeah, Mr. Bingham. Your Honor, I would like to approach the witness after I show this to Mr. Robinson. He shows a picture. And that's them talking. Okay. Miss Crawford, I'm going to show you a picture here. You can you identify that as the vehicle you were in, and are those your shoes in the front there? Okay. So we heard her say that the door wouldn't close, right?
That wouldn't open, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we saw the picture of the door open.
Yeah, we saw the picture of the door open. That door that had to be open with a screwdriver that cops must have known about at Arctic to open the front door. You know that ain't how it went down. But let's see here. You give me just 5 seconds because I'm going to find little Miss Crawford's statement. I'll do it or die. I'll go through every one because I've got all of KSP's notes that they gave me or sent through a FOIA that took years. Okay, let me see if it's in here. Do you see my problem with this, Arctic?
Oh, I absolutely do. Like I said, I've said from day one, Gene did this.
You know, there was a time, I don't even know that I should even say this, but there was a time when I worked at a particular medical facility and I took the high road because I knew I couldn't take care of her. I couldn't treat her like the other patients. And I read this and I'm like, good thing I didn't have this back then because I'm not sure I could have took the high road. But anyway, and I know that sounds bad on me, but I'm just being honest, y'all. I read this every time I read this. I get so upset. So upset. Let me see here.
And in a way, you have to ask yourself, everything happens for a reason. If Marlowe's conviction hadn't been overturned, you wouldn't look into this case. You would have assumed justice was served.
Yeah.
But is it really justice if the wrong man's serving time for the crime?
No, and like I've said many times when I started out, because I didn't go over this case until I had FOIAs. I had crime scene and photos, or what they call crime scene photos, and until I had what I call facts with my own uncle's case. I didn't go on what I had heard all my life. So up until I got this, I thought Marlowe was guilty. Matter of fact, in high school, I got in a fight with a girl over this case.
You in a fight? Never.
Oh, honey, I got into one of them. That was the old Crystal. Okay, let me see here. It was with his, I guess you'd call her stepdaughter. Okay, just a second. I think this is where Midnight states. Okay. We can make it wrong. Give me just a second, y'all. I don't mean to be quiet here. I'm just reading because I know you don't want me to read the entire police report here. Or the police's notes.
Hopefully, they're more legible than what Jeff's writing was. I've seen doctors with better handwriting than that.
Phew, goodness. Also, I think this is a good time to note that the county police never stepped foot on this. There's no trace that the county was, it immediately went to state police. State police is what took care of this case.
And that's unusual too, because that should have been Knox County's case.
Yeah,
State police should have only been involved if Knox County invited them in.
exactly. And we've seen that in so many cases. So many. Let me see whose this one is. I think I might have found it. Yeah, there you are. Okay, let's show it. Okay, now this is the statement that she gave on September the 11th, 1987 at her son's house to Trooper McKnight. Okay. If my face and, oh, is that the first? I guess this is the first page. Is it? Of my face, and I had the gun explode. There has to be another page.
Yeah.
This morning, I guess it started with this cursive writing. Nope, not that one. Let me see. That might be page 2. Oh, here we go. I think this is it. Yep. 9 p.m. or 9:30, Marlo and my son came to my house where me and Otis, which is my Uncle Ball, were. They didn't soon to be something other. It's chicken scratch. But they had some beer with them. I took my I know it's a pill, relaxing pill, and laid down, and I could hear the 3 of them talking about stealing 2 pot plants. Hasn't that already changed? Wasn't it
Well,
40
this
how many
entire
years?
case file is full of contradictions if you go through it. So, there's
Yeah.
that.
So we went from 40 to 2, or 2 to 40, whichever direction we want to take it. Ball came to the bed and told me to get up. I was going with him, and we was going to get, I guess, the pot. I already had my clothes on. We locked the doors, and me and Ball got in Ball's car, and Marlo, and it's Jeff, that's his name. It's redacted. He's a grown man now. And Jeff were in Marlo's car. We followed them up in the cemetery. Marlo and Jeff was already there, and Ball pulled up on the hill and turned around. We pulled pretty close to Marlo's car but his car was facing the cemetery, and we was coming back down. We was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I felt something hit the side. Yeah. The
No,
side
back down. There you go. The side of my face.
of my face, and I heard the gun explode. I fell over in the seat, and I thought I'd been hit. And I looked over at Ball and saw he had his brains shot out. I went all to pieces, and I tried to get the door open, and it wouldn't. I climbed over the seat and went out the back window. Right there, it says window. I couldn't zoom in. But, anyways, where is it? Okay. Jeff said, "Let's get out of here, Mommy." And we got in that car of Marlowe's. I believe Marlowe asked me where I wanted to go, and I told him to the house. Marlowe brought me and Jeff to Robert's house and let us out. So she went out the window here. She went out the back door. Front door wasn't open. It's hogwash. But her saying that door wasn't open, why did they not question the fact that it is open, you all? What all have I missed in chat? Or you know me, I get on a rant.
Not much. Dutch said that she's back. She had to finish a flyer for someone.
And didn't she say she hitched a ride? Yeah, that was the first story, Heidi. Her first story was that it was just her and Ball up there, and that she thought whoever they were stealing pot from did the shooting, I guess. And she climbed over the seat, went out the back window, ran down that hill, and hitched a ride. They saw through that. And like I said, and I've said it many times, you're not hitching a ride right now and getting one at 11:45.
Especially barefoot. She left her shoes in the car.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm glad you said that. So glad you said that, because this was what I wanted to. Let me see here. Because there's a place where he makes a note of what she took out of the car. I think it's where he interviewed them. Whoa. What the crap? Oh, man. I hope I'm reading this wrong. Examining Crawford's residence, I observed
2 16-ounce empty Budweiser cans on the coffee table. Bed was turned down and dirty plates observed on the kitchen table. Budweiser cans taken for evidence. 9/11/87 at 11:30 hours arrived at Robert Crawford's residence to recontact about the matter, and I guess that's going to be Jeff. Um, I observed a 20 gauge spent hull in the driveway. I obtained said shotgun hull for examination.
Why was there a 20 gauge hole in the driveway? That's at a completely different location. That's not at the cemetery.
Nope.
And it's spent. It's not an empty hole or what's my word? It's not a
Shell casing.
shell casing. It's a spent casing.
Trooper Burnett and I proceeded back to Nan Riley Cemetery to look for further physical evidence and weapon, finding none. While at the cemetery, Jeff said Marlo Brock started to him and his mother as he was driving them home. Brock would have to stated that he would have to get rid of the weapon. This statement was supposedly made around the Hughes Hill area on Kentucky 11. On 9/12/87 at 0200 hours, received information from confidential informant of Otis Abner and Gene Crawford attempting to sell 4 pounds of pot on 9/10/87. Asking price by Otis was $200.
Okay, let me ask y'all something. I have made no secret that my uncle would sell pot. And I'm sorry, $200 back then was a lot of money. Okay. Why would he be having to steal it when that very day confidential informant was telling on him for having it?
Yep. Let's see. 9/12/87, 1,000 hours, or 1,000 hours. Processed Abner's vehicle thoroughly, locating a small amount of marijuana in the trunk area right side. Processing a vehicle revealed no further evidence. I will locate Gene and Jeff and ask them to take a polygraph examination. Brock lodged Knox County Jail under $1 million bond. That's a shit ton of money for 1987.
Yeah.
Pending September, Knox County grand jury, further investigation continuing.
Let me see here. Just a second. Okay. Okay, that's talking about Marlo. Jeff's at court, and that's when he talks about this, because I've read it 100 times. Okay. Let me see here. I apologize, y'all. This is an important part, though. I have played it on, I've read it on here before. Is it this one? But he states, keep in mind, though, Arctic, that bond you were talking about, he made it. He made bond.
Now, how did he come up with that type of money?
Well,
Because I'm sure I mean, that's a whole lot of marijuana to sell.
Yeah. I think it got cut down to $50,000, and then there's an envelope that shows, you know, that paper they allegedly give you. I've asked people. I've never been in jail, y'all, but they give you to sign your personal belongings out and you initial beside of it.
Yep.
Well, let me show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. Let me see here. Let me see her files in order. Let me see if it's in this. Anyways, when they signed it out, it actually had that he signed out for $500,000, and it's initialed. Whoa, wait a minute. No, that's not it. I've ended up putting a lot of my oh, and by the way, y'all, does this look like a sawed-off shotgun, 20 gauge? Because that's what they had a picture of. But this is what I'm looking for. Because I know. Let me get rid of some of these tabs up here. Okay, maybe. And my uncle's toxicology came back. Alcohol. That's all he done. That's what I've said the whole time, have I not?
Yep.
Let me see here. Oh, and that right there is where they got the phone call theirself, the cops. And here is the, well, the wound indication. It blows my mind that door was open. Because she clearly stated it wasn't open. But also, she said, and you know I'm telling the truth on this because we've read it on here before, but she said that she left her purse, but there is a spot in his notes where he said he asked her when the love of her life got shot, she thought about getting her purse and her beer, and she thought it would calm her down. That's what she told him.
Yeah. Whose first thought when their supposed love of their life gets shot is to grab the beer?
Yeah. I wouldn't even remember my purse if I'm being honest about with you, let alone beer. My daddy always said two things would get you killed: a whore and a coward. I know it is in here. This is driving me crazy. Crystal, you just clicked on that one. And now I feel like all I'm getting is witness statements. It has to be in here. No, wrong one. Let me look at the date on them. Oh, never mind. That's when I actually got the thing. I could do without that one. Let me see. It's in his notes is where it's at. I know I'm going back to that blank paper, ain't it? Yep. Okay. And also, I think Arctic has already mentioned this, but just in case, all the evidence was destroyed at the Kentucky State Police Post. Why have they got so many of that one? And they documented it. They told that's what they done. Right down to the gun. They bent a barrel that was evidently supposed to be cut off. Okay. I give up. I give up. I I wasn't planning on showing that, but it hit my mind. But it is in one of the lives that we've did already, ain't it, Arctic?
I believe so, yeah.
Because I remember reading that, and I think maybe even Lori was on panel. But I tell you what I can do. She did say that her purse was left in that car, right?
Yep.
Well, let's see if it was, Jean. Because I do got this. Which would have probably been easier than going through 1,500 of those. Let me see. Okay, let's find car photos, people. This is Marlowe's car, so it ain't that one. Oh, and the marijuana found in the trunk that Arctic just read about, right there. Could they have robbed him? I think it's very possible. Front seat. There we go. Left her purse, she said. I don't see no purse.
I don't see no purse. I don't see no shoes. I see a beer can.
Right here's her shoes. They're them old.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, they
jelly
blend
bean.
in.
Yeah, they blend in. But there's a beer can there. There's a pack of cigarettes right there. And her shoes, which could have been left there, period. I mean, I got an extra pair of shoes in my car. Again, this don't look like a vehicle that somebody was murdered in my opinion. And it's sure, I mean, yeah, you see the blood right here. But where she says it was at, which is right here, you don't see it.
Mm-mm.
Her description is wrong. See, and this is the back door. That's the front door. That is, and this right here is a picture I'm glad I ran into. This is Marlo Brock's vehicle when it was pulled in. Okay. Now, hold on to your seatbelts here, Arctic, because I don't know if you see this or not. Now, this is when they come to get his vehicle from his house. Okay. Marlo Brock, look at Officer McKnight.
Seems pretty casual.
Yeah. Do you turn your back to a murder suspect?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. Kind of makes you wonder why they called him instead of calling like you would back then, Zero, and have them pat you through because you needed a police officer. And again, not what she showed here. Or what she told. And there's that door open. And that's what I didn't catch. And I've looked at these pictures quite a bit. But that door is open, and not only is it open, if it was in the garage after it was pulled in open, I'd say, okay, they figured out how to get it open to see if there was blood in the door jambs. But this is at the crime scene. This is before his vehicle is even pulled off this cemetery. And once again, I know this isn't what that is, but I always think of this. CCC. It's almost like I meant to bring this to the public. Cold Case Crystal.
Yeah.
Let me see what my chat's saying. But yet not much splatter in the car. Yeah, exactly. Flies exactly. That state trooper not calling you back told me they were covering something up all of these years later. Yeah. And I mean, it's on the channel. Anybody that wants to can go and listen to it. He calls it a code or a closed case. Well, it's not closed. So, let me know. What do you all think about that door being open? And what do you think about the lighter being in Marlo's vehicle? The yellow lighter, by the way, being in his vehicle. Jeff didn't get a light. He asked for a light, but didn't get one. He said he went back to get his beer. Do you think that perhaps, and this is speculation, but like I told Arctic earlier, I kind of felt like when I was up there, I went alone, and I know people may think I'm crazy, but it's almost just like I had these feeling, not like somebody's in the mountain watching me, and not like I'm just tagging along ghosts, but I do believe that people watch over you, and give you guidance anyway. But let's suppose they get pulled up there. Gene gets out of the car. maybe to speak to her son. I mean, I can foresee, hey, I need to tell him something. Her get out of the car. What if it was planned? If it happened on that cemetery at all and didn't happen at the house? But maybe that's the reason that the lighter was asked for.
I think Jean had to have gotten out of the car, or she's the one that did this, because when you were showing the wound, it's coming. I mean, someone would have had to have been outside that driver's side door to make
Yes.
that shot.
Yes. And it's close range because the autopsy showed the tattooing. But I, we've all heard Lori talk on here. She has validated what I've always said. My dad and his brothers never went anywhere without their weapon. My daddy slept with it under his pillow at night. There's no way Uncle Bob was on that cemetery, especially if he was going to look rob somebody's pot patch. But I never known the man to steal a day in my life. But could he have been up there selling? Possible. I mean, just to be honest with you. But up there without a weapon? No. I didn't see him go to the local store without a weapon. He always had his gun. But yet that ain't an item that is retrieved from his vehicle. Not one time do we see that.
Well, and none of these crime scene photos have I seen a patch of marijuana for them to steal.
No. And I mean, I tell you something else, Arctic, that they don't ever mention. They don't ever mention finding flashlights in either one of the vehicles either. If you're going to steal a pot patch at midnight, ain't you going to take a light to try to see it with?
Yeah, because it's not like today where we all have flashlights built into our phones. This was 1987. So.
But now, I tell you something that has crossed my mind a many of a time. And I'll show it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because that's how we roll over here. Right. Which one is it? Is it this one? That does look like a gun to me. Can I imagine Uncle Bob being laying down on that couch right here?
But and I'm going to disagree with you, Crystal, for one reason. If you go over to the far inside of that picture, you see the couch leg. That looks like it's another leg in the center of the couch. They look identical to each other.
Let me see.
There's that. Now go to the far right side of that couch. See?
Well, that's a good possibility too. Hadn't really noticed that. But there's a lot of these pictures took in here. A lot of them.
And that's another good point, Fly. That seat's way too far up for Ball to have been driving that vehicle.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find. I'm going to have to lower this down so that I don't. Because I keep some records on here. Let me see here. Give me just a second. I think I got it on my backup hard drive.
Which, if Jean was driving the vehicle and Ball was on the passenger side, she wouldn't have even had to gotten out of the vehicle. She could have just, yeah.
She can.
And you know what? That's where the blood is. It's on the passenger side of the vehicle. It's not on the driver's side.
Yeah. That's very true. This is my daddy. This is being held up, so please overlook this picture. This is what I got to real quick. You would think that's, I don't know if that's me or Hope. But anyways, here's my daddy. Here's my Uncle Ball. You can see my dad's cigarettes is in that front pocket. Uncle Ball's, it's kind of blurry, but right there is his. That was him when he was younger. I agree. It looks like a leg of a couch. I am 5'2", and that's what my position looks like.
But would Ball have let Jean drive the vehicle? That's the other question.
That's the thing that I wonder about, because I wish Lori was in here. She could tell you, but I was 8. I can only base things kind of on the way my dad was, but they were two different. They were very different people. Okay. They were brothers, but they were very different people. Would my dad have let my mom drive him? Absolutely not. Would my dad have let my dad let me drive him one time when he was sick. He was that person that needed to be in the driver's seat.
That's me. I can't stand for anyone else to be driving.
I did have pictures already uploaded in here of Uncle Ball, but I had to clear a bunch out where I've been. But to me, that she wasn't in that car. She wasn't in that car, and I think potentially Jeff was on the passenger side. And we all know also that, and this just hit my mind, so we all know that it was said that when my Uncle Ball was in jail for the incident where they all got in a fight and he stabbed Jeff, that Jean and Marlo had an affair. So let me ask you this. Let's hypothetically speak here. What if Jean had went up there on a cemetery? Because what did I say a couple times back? Up there on that cemetery, they go up there to do two things: make out, do drugs. What if she was up there with Marlo? Uncle Ball found out she was up there with him. Jeff lived with him. What if that happened? What if she actually rode up there with Marlo?
But that still doesn't explain why the seats pulled so close up to the steering wheel.
Well, good point.
But see, the fact that he stabbed Jeff, it's all the more motive for Jean to have gotten revenge on him. Because I know if someone did that to my son, I certainly wouldn't be too happy.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be happy either, but I wouldn't be letting my son and others jump onto a 50-some-year-old man either.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So, I mean, and that's how that went down. Because, he was 17 years old, but at the same time, this 17-year-old, back then, they were made different back then, Arctic. Let me see here. Because this is that 17-year-old.
Yep.
Him and two others decided they were going to jump a 50-some-year-old man. Lean on me, I think that's very possible.
That's a definite possibility.
Maybe Bao found out that they were having an affair. They got into a fuss at the cemetery, and Jeff shot him because he already knew it was a setup. Two major things have hit my mind. Either it happened at that house, and all this cleaning up that she claims that she done to herself was at that house. She cleaned it up, and they took the vehicle up there to make it, because she started out with just her and him went up there. Or,
Waz wants to know if you can show the picture of the door open again.
yeah, sure can. Okay. And I think I'm going to make it full screen and then do it like this. It's open. That says someone jumped in the car and drove his car there to set the scene. Ball didn't drive the car there. I believe that's very possible because there's no blood outside that car either. The whole thing sounds like a made-up story to cover their arses. Yep. Because
And if they put Ball in the passenger seat to drive him up there to set the scene, that would explain why all the blood's on the passenger side of the vehicle.
yeah, it would. And it smears. See?
Yep.
This is the shell that they see. And when I first got these, I thought that this was blood. It's not. It's leaves. Look at the stems.
Yeah.
And in September makes sense. The leaves were dying. That's that beer can. They got thrown a mile away. And you can see I was pretty much parked in the same spot he was. That's at the scene. This is that gun.
Yeah, that sure don't look sawed off to me.
Nope. Now, up here behind this building is where the gun was found. This was inside of where Marlowe was staying, which was like a shed. Another picture of the inside. That's the door to the shed. Again, the door to the shed. This is before he got arrested that day. Looks really, really comfortable. This is the feller that found the gun that ended up telling on him. And they show where the gun was actually found. It's up on this little hill behind their house. But I see he's pointing at where he found the shotgun. But when they found that shotgun, instead of reporting that they found that shotgun, they head off to Knoxville, Tennessee with it. See, under this junk pile is where it was located. And this is what they show. Why? That's not even the same kind of shell, Arctic.
No.
I still think it happened in this house. And the reason I think that he was laying down is because, look, when they got there or whatever, there's a pillow on the couch. And a road cigarette. My uncle didn't smoke road cigarettes. A road cigarette in this ashtray. But we know who did, don't we? This is the pants they retrieved. Those
Now,
were
whose pants were
Marlowe's.
those supposed to be? Marlowe's?
Yeah. This shirt was in Marlowe's car because this is Marlowe's car. Looks like there was a bigger crime scene in this vehicle than there was in my uncle's. Could just be nasty. And there is the Budweiser that they found in his vehicle. Is that an emblem or is that what they were? Look at that, Arctic.
What are you saying?
You don't see that red?
Oh, I see the red. That just looks like part of the box, though.
That's what I was asking. Because there's this right here too.
I don't think that's blood.
So it must have been on the inside. Where they said that there was... Oh, wrong way. Figure we just go through these. There's Officer McKnight.
Yeah, McKnight just seems way too chummy with the people that are supposed suspects.
Oh, yeah, you can see. And this is a picture inside that grave. I thought it was the side of the mountain. It's not. But what is he? I don't even know what the reference of this picture is, unless it's to show his shiny shoes. Do you see anything of reverence in this picture?
I don't see anything that would be that stands out as important.
And I thought maybe that rolled cigarette was in here, but if it is, it ain't obvious. Their picture taking sucks.
Oh, let's face it, though, this was the 80s, so most cameras were potatoes compared to today. So,
Most cops were too.
oh no,
But-
nothing's really changed. Law enforcement officers still suck across the board for the most part.
But now this is what it looked. You haven't seen the video. This is what it looked like back then. So as you can see, it's even narrower back then than it is now.
Yeah.
Again, that's that weed they're talking about. But they said that he was out with a large quantity earlier in the day, right? Where'd it go to? Because he didn't smoke weed. He sold it, but he didn't smoke it. And it looks like they tore his trunk out to pieces looking for it. And that's when they pulled it in to the garage. See, this just does not, to me, look
There's
like.
a pack of cigarettes sitting right on the dash.
Yeah, that's Uncle Ball's cigarettes.
Yeah. That pack hadn't even been opened.
Nope. I imagine he could have got that pack out of his pocket to get a cigarette lighter. What do you think? Guessing,
Possibility.
but I mean, I can see that. See, and that is smudges. That's not.
Mhm. That's not splatter. There's no splatter on the headliner either, and there would be with a shotgun blast like that.
That potentially, but I mean, who knows?
Now, see, this is where I got to question whether it is the front door or the back door that's open, because in this picture, the front door is obviously shut and you see the back door open.
Yeah, but this is in the garage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is in the garage. The garage that set like not too far from where Jean lived. Her and Uncle Ball. And that looks like blood or a reflection. I really wondered, was she there when they were taking pictures? Because she was redheaded as a beet. I'm just saying. Kind of looks like her. I ain't even kidding. Scrawny redheaded woman. And then they go to his house and get his. And again, this does not look like don't look like he's worried about nothing, does it?
Mm-mm.
I don't know why they gave me duplicates of that. Now, that looks different than the other picture. Does it to you? Or looks like there's more on the headboard than there were in the picture? Lord have mercy. What's this? There is.
Now that looks like blood there.
Yeah.
That's possibly blood, or the headliner's just nasty. One of the two. But
That's possibly blood. One thing about Uncle Ball is him and my dad both kept clean vehicles. That's something that gets me with even looking at that trunk. The inside of their vehicles, they were picky about. Oh, that's that door. See,
yeah,
you see the way that the handle is? Back doors went like that. And notice how that window thing is rolled. There is a speck of blood there on it. It also makes me question why they took the picture like this. Why didn't they show the whole window? I mean, cause what were they focusing on? The trunk of the vehicle? Because you've got a passenger door there open. It's got this at the top of it. Let me check something. Wait. Where's that garage picture? I think it's the front door. It's the front door open on that. Just a second.
go to that. Well, go down, go up. They're right there. That picture right there. That's the front door, though. I thought it was the back door for a second. I wish I had a good view of the inside of the back door to see what it looks like.
See, I just know that the way that the door handles was on vehicles back then, this wasn't on the back door. It was on the front door. This was a Plymouth. Let's see here. Let me see here.
Looks like an 82 Dodge Diplomat, I think.
This is where the back of that vehicle might actually help us out. I thought it was a Plymouth.
Dodge.
Oh, you're probably. Yep, you're
Dodge Diplomat.
okay. Just a second. Let's see here. I'm going to see. Just a second. What year do you think that is? 1982. Dodge Dip. Interior. Okay, and I'm looking for the back. See the door handles in the back. Okay. Why won't you show me that? I could be wrong.
I sent you one in Discord of the back seat.
Yeah, I just sent one to just a second. Let me make sure I ain't sharing my screen. Uh, well, it does have a little handle thing like that. What do you think?
It's hard to say, but I mean, it looks. I mean, I can't distinguish much difference between how the back door opens and how the front door opens. And it's
Yeah,
got the armrest just like the front does.
let me see one more thing here. Let me see. Okay.
Now, as
Yep,
far as that
and
piece of wood looking trim, that could just be dependent upon the package that the vehicle or the options of the vehicle. A higher end package may have the trim that the lower end package don't. So
yes. Okay. Something I want to say here. And okay, there, right there's where that blood splatter is on that door. Now I'm going to look at this picture. That's at the top. I'm going to look back at this one.
yeah, you're not showing your screen.
I'm sorry. I apologize about
Oh,
that.
you're fine.
Okay. I'm trying to see. Okay. Well, look here.
See, and I think that that one that we found with the red interior is a little bit newer model too, because the steering wheel is different in it than it is in Ball's car.
I'm trying to find a marking that would show up. Because I'm wondering, would this show up in the other one? You see what I'm saying? Like that speck of blood there.
Yeah. There is a speck of blood, but it's possible.
Let me see here. I see something. I don't know if that's a light glare. Or
No, I don't think. I think that is the back door. I really do.
there we go. That's more of a dead-on photo of it.
I see in that picture, you can't see any blood.
No, just like around up through here looks like a spot, but I don't think that's blood. That. See, I wish they would have left that door shut in this picture. One, two. Ah, back to that jerk. See if they would give a little bit higher than this, because the window is facing in the or the window crank is facing in the same direction as the front one. There's fingerprints all over it. I guarantee you they didn't test that. I don't know. I don't know. See, I'm kind of thinking, but the picture's cut off.
Yeah.
So with being cut off, just a second. Okay. Just a minute, Order. I'm going to. I just got sent the back picture of. Okay. I'm going to bring this down. open this up. Come on. Quit being slow. Maybe because I got 1,800 tabs open. You think that might be affecting it?
I'm sure that's part of it.
Okay. Now, open. All right. Here is what I was sent. And that's what the back seat would look like. It does have that little handle there, but like the ashtray and stuff is down here too. Let me see. Let's see what this. Let's see if it's got that. Oh, just quit being hateful. Okay. Oh. What do you think, Artie?
It's hard to say. I mean,
The back doors did normally have ashtrays on them.
yeah, but some of those ashtrays were in the armrests of the cars back then.
Well, that's true too. Oh. And look how many I got open. My goodness. Let's look at this one more time.
Okay, now if that's the exact same model car, then I don't, yeah, that doesn't match up because that right there underneath the armrest is different than it is on the driver's side picture that we had. I mean, on the front door picture that we had.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, because I can remember ashtrays being on the door, I'm thinking that's the ashtray on that model car.
Yeah, because it's not built into the armrest there. So if that's a Dodge Diplomat that we've got a picture of.
That's an older one. Just a little older than an 82, which would make sense for Uncle Ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's like an 80, if I'm mistaken. Because that is, in my opinion, it's a little different.
It is. It is a little different.
Let me see here. There is only one person alive that knows the truth, Crystal. Have you ever thought about reaching out to him to ask him? Well, Dutch, I don't know if you were in here. But Artie can tell you what kind of email I got, and it wasn't from that person, but potentially a law enforcement officer. So if I reach out to that person and something happened to them, Crystal's going to be the one to get blamed for it. But I mean, it was a veil threat.
Yep.
From a law enforcement department. Had the nerve to call me sweetie. And then said, just want you to be careful. I hope law enforcement doesn't know that you're covering this. You can never be too safe. Well, I agree with you, old good buddy. You can't be too safe. So you stay at your house, I'll stay at mine. I wish the angel wasn't like that. It's hard to judge the difference. Yeah, it is hard to judge the difference. No, I ain't kidding you, Dutch. I turned my camera on and showed Arctic. Did I not, Arctic?
Yep. I saw it. It says it's coming from a law enforcement agency, but it's not Knox County that it's coming from.
Nope. But I am having it looked into, and that IP address is being tracked as we speak. By morning, I will know where it came from. Not only will I know, but when I know, you know me. Somebody gonna be in some trouble. Oh, I will.
Yeah, let me know when you find out too.
So you all did seeing the video give you a better understanding of how that cemetery is actually closed in more? I mean, to me, it gives you a different perspective. Even though the changes has been made, it gives you a different perspective. Because also, I climbed on that mountain. And remember, Jean's original thinking was somebody shot from that mountain. That was her in her first statement, where they went up there by themselves.
See, and that's my thing with Jean too. Her story changes so much. You know, if you're telling the truth never changes.
No, No, the truth don't change, and I don't care if you are trying to allegedly protect your son. The truth her story changed after that. After she even told that he was up there, her story continued to change. I mean, if it's a closed case, why worry about it if it's being covered? After all, being a closed case means they had the evidence, right? Geez, you would think that I don't think it needs to be a cold case or a closed case. I think it should be a cold case, and I think that it needs new eyes looked on it. And if I'm being completely honest, I think KSP needs to step completely away from it, hand that case to somebody else.
But
Somebody
Crystal, think about this though. With all the evidence having been destroyed in the case, what chance is there of actually pursuing a case at this point?
I was told it was very hard. That the only case that could actually potentially, because I have checked into this, just in case my cousin wanted to pursue it, that the only case that could potentially be done is against Kentucky State Police for mishandling the case.
Or if the right person sees these videos and Jeff's been stupid enough to run his mouth to someone and they step forward.
If I'm being completely honest, I would walk up to the remaining living person and I would ask. But my husband don't want me to do that because we've got children in this house, and I also have to protect them, and they need me. But this person has got drunk. I'm just going to say the name. Jeff has got drunk before and told people he did it.
Told people he did it.
Yeah. But then Gene's done the same thing. When Topics was going on, remember that website Topics where everybody told all the gossip? Well, when Lori did in 2011, when she did the news thing, wanting people to look into, to this case because they were telling her then it was closed. And she got threats then. But on Topics, people were talking, and one person put, well, it's funny how a redhead, and that's what they called her, how a redhead will confess to her sins when you give her just enough liquor. So they have talked to people. There's people out there that's heard them talk to people.
Well, it's possible that they were both involved because it would take, if the crime did happen at the house and they transported the corpse to the cemetery, staged the crime scene there, that's going to take both Gene and Jeff to do that. And maybe even Marlo too.
Yeah. And I mean, him having an affair with Jean, he had a reason to help out. I'm sure he didn't think they were going to turn around and try to pin it on him, but like all of it, that they all three should have been tried. In my opinion, Jean and Jeff should have never been witnesses for the Commonwealth. They all three should have stood trial. Murder and conspiracy to commit murder and getting rid of evidence after the fact That's interfering with a crime scene itself. Because if she had all that on her, then that's evidence. She destroyed it before they ever got there. And it's a funny thing to me that during that trial, they paid lots of money for them to have protection. When, as far as, to my knowledge, I've been told, allegedly, renting them a place to live. They spent that money to protect them. They also subpoenaed every brother that my uncle had. And I know why they did that too, because they couldn't be in the courtroom. But guess who got to sit there and hear the IRS lady read what he had told her, Marlo? Why was she able to even read that? Why was she able to read the statement of what he told her? Is that not hearsay? When you're telling what somebody else told you?
Well, yeah.
I mean, when you think of the Johnny Depp case, there was parts in it they wouldn't even let the psychiatrist read parts because it was hearsay. But an IRS worker got to read pretty much what he was going to testify to next. An IRS worker explained to me why she was even involved. When did the IRS start investigating murder cases?
It's a new one for me.
It happened in this one. You're right. New eyes can't bring back the destroyed evidence. But I mean, if they give the new eyes the same pictures they gave me, I think the new eyes would realize that that ain't a sawed-off shotgun. I do think they made a lot of mistakes when they did their documentation. And trust me, I realize and I've came to terms that there might be a 2% chance of my uncle ever getting justice, and that would be for Jeff to come forward and just spill his guts. At this point, we just want to know why and what happened. Family needs closure. His kids need closure. But, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say this again, then I'm going to get off here. But if the internet is forever, then forever people will know he didn't get justice.
That's true. And forever people will know how hard you fought to get his story out there, so that even if it is just a 2% chance, you took that chance.
Exactly. Exactly. And generations down the line, I mean, who knows? There might be some, when I'm dead and gone, my kids might want to know what really happened in this case. And the files are here. It's all documented. It's all on YouTube. And if I take everything off YouTube, I will not take his case off YouTube. There's no devils in hell that could make me. And there sure ain't no emails that could scare me into it. Somebody needs to be asking somebody, because I'm not a pushover. for one thing, I haven't spoke on this case till I got that email. So, little nosy body that wants to call me sweetie, you might want to think about that. Because obviously you're watching these lives. You don't scare me. You don't scare me one bit. I am Duck Abner's daughter. Pick somebody else. Matter of fact, I hadn't done a live on this in how many months, Arctic?
It's been at least 3.
Yeah, I actually thought the last one was going to be the end of the series and said, unless something comes up, that this will be the last episode. Send me another email. I dare you. Send me another email. I'll go so deep down this case it'll make your hind end burn. But remember, everybody, it takes zero effort to be a good human being. But you don't mess with me when it's something this close to me. Don't send me veil threats. Period. And I'm one person, sweetie, and that's my husband. Well, Arctic, you want to say anything before we get off here?
I'll just close how I close all of mine. Y'all, be kind to one another out there. You never know what that next person that you see is going through. They could be a victim or a family member of a victim themselves. And you taking that one moment out of your day just to smile and be kind to them could make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to thank everybody that's came in. I'm sorry I haven't been able to check chat. You all know I'm horrible at that. But if I'm one of them people that if I'm reading chat, I completely get distracted on what I'm looking for or what I'm trying to show. But I do appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate you, especially showing up to support my uncle. Share this. If you don't care, share out his story. I don't ask that much. But I've started because I realize that's how you get awareness. You can't just keep it on one channel. But it takes zero effort to be a good human being. You have to actually try to be a bad one. And in that video, I actually said that I showed earlier when I went up there today. Before I ended it, I said that. And on September the 10th of 1987, people made effort to be a bad one. They made effort by planning what they were going to do. Then they made effort by, even though they didn't have gas money all day, they spent that gas money to go on that cemetery. And then they chose to take another man's life. You see what I mean?
That's the other thing, too. They didn't have gas money, but wasn't there a significant amount of money found?
Oh, yeah, honey, $500,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
No gas money all day, but when they go to get their items for being locked up when they got bailed out, that's the exact amount that it was going to take to bail him out was one of the properties that was signed out. Make that make sense. You can't. But I love y'all. I appreciate you. Also, thank y'all for letting me go on a little rant there, but I don't like to be threatened. It don't work the way people plan.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come up and discuss the case with you. And anytime you want me up, just say the word.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. When I come back and looked at that today and I saw that door, I was like, wait, what? Looked at these pictures so many times. And then there's that. And then, like I said, when I was up there, it just did not make sense. Somebody had to be standing in front, in between his car and Marlowe's car, for him not to see them coming at him with a gun.
Well, that's if we believe that the crime even took place there, because
That's what
that
I'm,
could have just been a secondary scene.
yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, if it happened up there, then if somebody wasn't standing there, I know my uncle. And his daughter has been on this channel and verified what I am saying right now. He always had his gun. All the boys, all the brothers did. He would have shot. You know what I mean? He
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't have just let somebody walk up to him with a sawed-off shotgun.
Well, and especially it didn't matter if he was selling weed or if he was stealing weed, he would have had his gun on him, for damn sure.
Yeah. And I will preface this. My Uncle Ball lived a hard life. Him, my dad, their siblings, they lived a hard life. When my dad was a young teenager, he come down on Christmas morning when kids expect for Santa to come that night and presents are supposed to be under that tree. And guess what he found? He found his mom dead under the Christmas tree.
Mm.
He ended up having a stroke, which paralyzed his eye, but he never let that get him down. And the girls were younger, with the exception of one, but she was already married. And these boys at the time, that's what they were, young men, all took different roles and raised the kids that was left at home. My dad worked. My Uncle Bill cooked. They all took a part in making sure their siblings was raised. So, and not one time did one of them boys steal to do it. So the whole up there to steal marijuana, I don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either because, like I said, number one, you'd have to be a damn fool to plant pot in a goddamn cemetery where you got people going to visit graves all the time. And number two, we saw all the photographs that were taken at that cemetery. There wasn't a weed plant wanting to be seen.
Nope. No record of them looking for it either. Not once. No flashlights. To me, that's key. That says they wasn't there to steal no pot plant. And this is the only case that I know of that 3 people's been present at a murder and they just take the word of the other 2 and not consider them suspects. They all should have been investigated. And it should have started with Miss Jean, who decided to take a shower and get rid of her clothes before the cops got.
Mhm. Now, I did see something in the case file where they said something about possibly setting up a polygraph for Gene and Jeff.
Oh, yeah. And she agreed to take that polygraph, but the day before the officer was going to pick her up, which is in the same part that talks about her getting the beer. But she said that she had talked to her attorney, and he told her on nervous person like her, it wouldn't be no good for her to do that. So they didn't take one. And I say it like that because that's exactly what she said. On nervous people like me.
Well, you know how I feel about polygraphs. I think they're junk science. That's why they're not admitted in court anyway. But the fact that she said she'd take one and then all of a sudden she changes her mind, I mean, that certainly doesn't look good for her at all.
No, it don't. And the sad thing about it is because these people were not properly investigated, it also gave the opportunity for them to go on through life committing multiple crimes. Multiple crimes. One's arson. I mean, there's a list and a half. Actually, it took 3 years. Wasn't that what it was, Dutch? I think 3 years. It was after my uncle was murdered for them to even conviction over the arson. Why? And they made a motion before trial, which is in the transcripts, not to bring up Marlowe's extensive criminal history. When they went to talk about the polygraph, guess where they found them? At the courthouse, because Jeff had a probation hearing that day. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have been prevented if they'd have done his case correctly. A lot of people could have not been hurt had they handled this case correctly. But no, they put him right back out into society. And I know this is going to sound awful of me, but I'm just speaking it because it's the truth. It took pure karma, if you want to call it karma, or the good Lord to get even with these people. One ended up getting shot. Didn't die, but paralyzed. One lightning struck a tree, fell on him. And the last I heard, he couldn't walk. I don't know if he learned to walk since then. That's the one that's alive. And Jean spent the later years of her life laying on her back with a feeding tube down her throat. So I guess,
Well, justice comes in many forms.
That's what I was fixing to say. I mean, that's kind of justice for us. But again, I love y'all. Thank you for being here. It takes 0 effort to be a good human being. You know how I am with this case. I could go on and on and on because it infuriates me. But it sure infuriates me when somebody decides that they're going to send me an email. That was dumb. That was dumb, by the way. You're a few French fries short of a Happy Meal. Your cornbread ain't done in the middle. Your elevator ain't going to the top, because this old girl will trace it. I'll find out. Email is not a smart way to go if you're going to threaten somebody, okay? Just saying. Learn better. But I love you all. Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody. And thanks, Orla, for joining me.
Oh, anytime.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I